then, okay.
All right. So I'm calling the meeting to order. I have 6:03 p.m. And should I say who's present besides myself?
Nope.
Okay.
The next item is the approval of the January 24th meeting.
Okay. So hang on a minute. Oops. Okay. So the July 22nd meeting, did everybody have a chance to review the minutes?
It's
And
actually the June 24th meeting
oh, okay.
minutes.
Oh, yeah, of course, we're on July 22nd here now. So everybody had a chance to look at the meeting
I'll
minutes?
move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Okay, and is there a second, Ted? Okay. Okay, so the meeting minutes have been accepted. Let me see here.
So the next item is the deconstruction pilot discussion.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just I need to just get one thing, but go ahead. Yeah.
So I'll give you an update on where we're at. So there is a shipping container at Vinton School with eviction stuff in it because these shipping containers are used for apartment evictions. Well, not just apartments, but yeah, apartment evictions. And once one of those is emptied, then we'll put rails on it and rails, which means that the shipping container can be easily moved with a truck that's designed for picking up roll-offs. So it's in ordering the rails are in process. And as far as when the shipping container will be empty and then the rails will be welded on is up in the air. So I wouldn't think that it would be too much longer, though. Um, and then I asked Eco Building Bargains, because this was a question the group had the last meeting, if they have a scale to weigh the materials. And what they do is they have estimates of like a sofa weighs this much, kitchen cabinets weigh that much. So, and he did not get back to me, the person I spoke to, as far as like what that information is. But I got the assurance from him that in this pilot they would be estimating the weights, and it would not be a problem for us to get that information back from them. And so things are moving along, and so the next subject is contractors, our contractor phone calls. So I don't know, I'll let somebody else jump in who made phone calls and what kind of.
Didn't.
Okay.
I did. And I had, the first person, I left the message, and he did get back to me. The second person, I left the message on their voicemail, but I got no call back. So I am thinking that I will forward the outline of our pilot or our projected pilot to that person and see if there's any response. And my third person, the voicemail said they were out of the country. And so I haven't, my thinking was that I would just also forward the outline in the email to them. And then, say if you have any questions or anything like that to call me. And then I had one other person, and they're on vacation on the Cape. He was not on my list, but I told you about him because before we did some phone call thing about potential interest. When we very first started with the Deconstruction Committee. And so I figured that I will also forward, but I don't have his email address, but I'm sure I can get it and find it somewhere. And we'll forward the outline of the proposed pilot to him and tell him, that he can reach me. So that's my story.
Thanks, Susanna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough, I think, in the middle of summertime, and I know this last person has small children and they have a place on the Cape. So I know they were going there for the whole month. So, but I can send him an email anyway. So I think summertime, it's a little bit rough sometimes to get a hold of people so.
Well, that's what I was running into, was all I was getting was voicemails. So what I ended up doing was uh, doing what I was going to do as a script. I put it into an email and emailed the 5 people that I had. And I haven't heard anything back from them. But at least, well, it's a start.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Katie. Um, I reached out to 9 people. 2 were previous um, previous people I had spoken to, and I did I did talk to 2 people. They got the call, um, and they were um, they were interested, and that was Raymond Carpenter from Pro Clean Cleaners, um, and Matt Anito from Priority Construction. And with the phone, but the other calls, I left messages and then I just followed up with an email. Um, and then Mark Sousey from KBMS Enterprises, which is doing the renovations at the old general store, called me up and said, I have wainscoting. Do you want it? If you want it, come pick it up. And I was like, we're not there yet. He says, like, I'm not going to handle the material twice. And I think that might also be something that we'll encounter, is that contractors, like, they want it done and done immediately, and they're not going to handle it. They'll put it aside, but somebody else can come pick it up, which I said to him, I said, we're just trying to gauge interest. Like, would you be interested? We'd have to have notice ahead of time. Um, and he seemed to express interest. So, it is kind of a shame that we won't get the wainscoting from the Mansfield General Store, but you know, it's now probably on its way to Ohio to be landfilled. Um, and the 2 people that I spoke to that were interested, I followed up with an email. They did not then get back to me. So my plan is to um, call them again and just say, did you get my email? Are you interested? We want to start doing this in the near future. and would love to know if there are contractors that are interested. So that's what I thought I would do. I'll probably do that this week. Um, and yeah, so that's where I'm at.
Okay, so did assign every name on the list, Ginny, that
Yes,
that you had provided us with,
yes,
the names and the emails and telephone numbers. Okay.
yeah. And Ted, do you just not have the time? You're muted.
Yeah, it seems like when I do, like today, the boss stepped in while I was actually I was doing finishing a letter to a friend, um, and he stepped in, and I had to put it down at lunchtime. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, I'll keep trying.
Well, if you want, because I have the time, I could make
Okay,
those three calls.
all right, that's fine with
Um,
me.
yeah,
I don't know any of them personally, so there's not that.
yeah, okay. All right. And all right, we'll call. So where do you want to go from here? Um,
Well, we have definite interest from only from the people you spoke to,
a few.
uh, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I potentially think that the person whose email address I don't have right now, but that, Chris Nearhakos, that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because he seemed interested initially when we called a bunch of people to,
Yeah.
see if there would be an interest. And he
Mm-hmm.
said yes, uh,
Mm-hmm.
that he would be willing to, consider it. And so maybe if I send him the email with the information, about who's involved and what it entails, that, I'm sure he'll get back to me. Um,
Okay.
so that would bring us up to three. Um, so I don't know. I mean, I guess we keep going because I mean, what are the other options that we have? We never
It
said
is.
like we wanted to get a certain number of people to commit, So
Um, well,
I'm
one of the things that I had done, I don't think I reported it to this group, is I had talked to the building department about putting some kind of information in there, include it with their permitting process, which is all online. And that was kind of nixed because they actually contract an outside vendor. And so it's really they have a limitation on what they can do. Um, but are there other ways that we could put forth the idea of salvaging materials? Like, could we be working on something that, and I'm sure it's out there, that introduces, the idea of salvage and what the town is attempting to do. Um, so that I think that is another avenue, getting the word out, um, and making it available for people who are doing their own home renovations.
right. And I was just thinking the same thing that, there are probably a reasonable number of people that, are doing their own work and, that would have to haul the stuff somewhere anyway if it's, of of the quality and that, you know, eco-building bargains would be interested in. So could we post something in like the newsletter?
That was my question is when does the next town newsletter come out?
Oh, let's see. Um, so, okay, so the last newsletter was June, July. So, and I think Margaret is out this week. So, it would be probably something going out, if there's something together for next week, which is July 29th, maybe um, the beginning of August even, because I don't know how quickly she can get the newsletter together, but um, yeah, just to speak to what this group is working on and um,
Yeah, because if people have the impression that we're talking about, we're talking or trying to talk to contractors, and that immediately, at least in my mind, conjures up like bigger projects, and people
mhm,
be doing a small project within their own home,
mhm,
taking out something that's really nice, and they would actually maybe like to see somebody else benefit from that.
yeah,
So, and if we have the trailer at the transfer station, they have to haul their own stuff anyway. It's not like so we could maybe say that if they have stuff that, meets, maybe we could refer them to the list of acceptable items and where those items are going to go so that they have a little more information. And then say, that if and up when the pilot comes up, there will be a trailer, a container at
mhm,
transfer station that they could, even if it's just a door, but a very nice door or
mhm,
whatever it may be,
mhm.
there's a place where they can actually take that stuff and somebody else might, you know, um, be grateful or, be interested in having it. It's sort of like Ted's electronics, uh, trailer, like people come in, and they're like, oh, wow, and it's the same thing. I mean, there's a lot of people who like, they go to yard sales and, they pick up stuff that people put out there. So I don't
But
know. What do you
but
think?
well,
Well, that's not going for it to go to eco building bargains, I guess. But um, you know,
yeah, that's the intention is that it is going to eco building bargains. I mean, it's a pilot, so um it needs to be yeah, I'm speaking like a bureaucrat. It needs to be managed somehow so that um at least to get a sense of what kind of participation we'd have.
right,
So it doesn't become um a mess.
yeah.
Yes, with things that really aren't good or usable. Like I don't want this to become the substitute for the reuse area, which has been done which is not up and functioning right now at the transfer station. So I don't want this to become that the replacement of that,
Right,
because that's really not what this is. This is about getting renovation, demolition material out of the waste stream.
right.
Um, so why don't I, unless somebody else wants to, why don't I draft something that would go in the newsletter and have you guys comment on it and edit it? Would that work?
I just like to suggest or bring up a couple of things. one is you could, perhaps a sign in front of the shack that announces this, a flyer, a handout that Gary or Scott or whoever could give to contractors interested, and we could kind of gauge interest that way by, we gave them 10 flyers last week and there's 9 flyers left this week. So, what I'm saying. And then the other thing is the fact that um, reuse next to the metal bin is not open, um, I think has suggested that we are not interested in that kind of stuff, that kind of activity. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents.
Um, uh, okay. So to clarify, handouts for contractors that can be distributed by
Or
the
or
attendant
homeowners,
or what?
or homeowners, or and anybody who expresses interest in the sign in front of the shack to Gary or Scott. Hey, here's the deal. Just a thought. I am,
Yeah, yeah.
somebody's got to do all that stuff, and I know that the electronics is not supported. So it might be a no go right from the get go if they're just going to leave the flyers there, and so
Um, I think Gary would, hand out a flyer
okay.
if he sees he seems, willing to do that. If he sees somebody who is a repeat
A repeat
visitor
offender.
that yeah, that comes in with demolition or renovation stuff. So, okay.
Okay. Just
Um, all right. And, also handouts for contractors that come into the town hall and the building department.
right. That could be the same.
Yeah.
No need to make more work. Just do the same thing.
Okay. So I'll see if there's something that we could base that off of from another town. Maybe Eco Building Bargains has some suggestions. So, um, okay. So, so it looks like the things that need to be accomplished are getting a shipping container and emptying it out. Well, we have the shipping container, emptying it out, putting the rails on, and getting contractors on board. So that seems to be, or um, or homeowners that are doing fix-it jobs. So,
Yeah, I have gotten just this past weekend in electronics. I've gotten what do you call it? Ceiling fan, a bathroom exhaust fan, and I finally had to, and there's also a light fixture, chandelier kind of light fixture. I mean, those could go in there too because, I had to get rid of, and a over the range exhaust hood that I ended up throwing into the recycling. So those are probably stuff that would go into into this container?
Um, Possibly, but I think
Okay.
maybe. I
Okay.
think definitely the ceiling fans. Um,
Okay. Well, I'll certainly, support it to the extent that I can. And
yeah, I'm just looking at the link of acceptable items. Um, so maybe not the exhaust fan.
okay.
But possibly. I mean, when I've talked to the people at Eco Building Bargains, they like go by the list, but we also will negotiate.
That's
So,
good.
yeah. So, okay. All right. Anything else?
Mm, not for me.
Okay. I guess then, um, do you want to get together in September, like skip August and go into September? So September, the Mondays in September, there's a fifth Monday in September, it's September 30th. Would you like to do that one? Does that work for you, Susanna and Ted?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks okay to me so far here.
Okay. All right. So maybe at that point there will be um some movement on the container and interest from contractors, and maybe we'll have a handout, some sort of handout that we can start pulling people in who are interested. The balance is uh, pulling people in, when it's close to the time that the container is available, because there might be people that are like, yeah, I'm working on something this weekend, that kind of thing.
Right.
Um, so anyhow, I will draft something for you guys to look over, and I'll see you guys in September then.
Okay.
In
Okay. Anybody
September,
else? Anything else?
Yeah, September 30th.
September 3rd. Oh, yep, I got September.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess we're all done then. Nobody has anything to add? Okay. So we'll adjourn the meeting at 6:31. And we will hopefully see you all on September 30th at 6 p.m. And enjoy your summer.
Yeah, thank you.